Tonight, on an all-new episode of the Hoodlum Show. Oh yes, that's freaking hilarious. So I popped it in my N64. Suddenly he exploded. Satan! This is the most cliched shit I've ever read. Join my death cult, mortal. All this and more coming up. Oh yeah!
知らず知らずと真剣勝負今宵もゼルダは最高潮スーパーファミコンゼルダの伝説ついに出る
Good day, people of the YouTubes. How are my wonderful YouTube heroes doing this fine day? It's time we continue the adventures of Link and Zelda with the final 5 stories that are sure to make you question your very own existence in this vast, humongous universe.
Is that sexual harassment?
All in a day's work. Let's go! Number 5. Zelda 2: The Lost Level. Hey kids, did you know that the almighty Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers once read this story for his channel years ago and loved it? Man, how things have changed. The Chart Rage. A golden chart rage, which was on eBay and had no label, and read Z3LD at TW02 whatever on the front in red Sharpie marker. The story. One day I was exploring eBay for some old NES games to play, considering all of my old ones went missing. I thought of one of my favorite games from my childhood, Zelda 2. I looked it up and I only found 2 results, The Legend of Zelda N64 2 game set OOT, and Majora's Mask with saves, and Zelda 2 NES. You can guess which one I clicked. The NES one, because I didn't have an N64, and it was very expensive to buy another one. It was surprisingly 99 cents,
but shit, it was 99 cents!
And it was a buy right now item, not a biddable item. So I bought it and I played it after a week when it arrived. The chart rage looked weird, it had no label and it was all golden, replacing the title with Sharpie marker. They put blah 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 on the front with a red Sharpie. So I popped the sucker in. Is this the angry video game nerd?
Let's pop this fucker in, turn this son of a bitch on, and play some Superman.
And began playing. This person left a save file on there, so I just decided to play it. It started out normally. I roamed Hyrule, entered caves, killed enemies, and so forth. The only glitch was that I could walk through rocks and stuff, so I used that to my advantage. I ran through the rocks until I came across a town, which looked like it was on fire, at the corner of the map. When I entered, it was a perfect town. No townspeople turning into bats, nothing bad. Everyone in the town strangely told me this: leave now. I thought it was some stupid joke, oh yes, that's freaking hilarious, until I walked by a big house and I got pulled into it by a strange looking girl. She said, "Come in, quick!" I then heard screams of pain and digitized splat noises inside the house. He levitated out of the house, the city turned dark, suddenly, and all of the houses burst into flames. Fucking roasted, dog! While an eyeless Link started laughing in a demonic laugh. He then said in a demonic voice while his eyes gushed blood out of the empty stare of his eyes,
"Hyrule is done for. Greg and Zelda, along with Hyrule, shall perish by the hands of me!"
All of the townspeople surrounded him and all of them blew up and it splattered guts and blood everywhere. Link chanting "Ring around a Rosie." The game cut to black and it said, "Run away, Greg, run!" I looked behind me and there was a bloody Link behind me. It was a bloody Link, bloody hell, Larry. We're in Britain now, apparently. Behind me, bleeding from his eyes, chanting, "You're going to die!" Then he lifted me up and threw me into my glass table. I stood up and he screamed, which launched me into my glass frames of my family members, glass stuck into my back. I limped away and he threw me through my back door glass slider, getting cut up by all of the glass. Why is there so much glass everywhere? I crawled away, got picked up and thrown into my brick wall. I then blacked out and woke up in a hospital. My neighbor called the police due to the loud noises caused at my residence. The police found me nearly dead from internal bleeding and severe injuries. I got onto my laptop and I researched the history of this cartridge. I found out that the man who made the cartridge made it at an abandoned warehouse built over an Indian burial ground.
On Indian burial ground, shaman.
Called the Green Tree Cemetery. I studied this cemetery and I found out that a certain man, a part of the Apache tribe, got captured by a rival tribe, got his eyes cut out with a buffalo horn knife, and left him in the woods to bleed to death. I thought that maybe the link that I saw might have been that man. He attacked me and nearly killed me. A week later they put me into casts for my arm and my leg and I got crutches to go home with. I am never going to touch that cartridge ever again. So I put it back onto eBay as a bid. Zelda 2 NES was its name. You absolute wanker! You just suffered excruciating physical pain, and you have the nerve to put the cartridge back on eBay so some other poor sod can experience the same stuff? Maybe you deserved what happened to you, you bastard! Number 4. School Chua's Bite. You know you're in for a treat when the very title of the story is misspelled. One day I was playing my favorite game, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I had just found the game in my closet, so I popped it in my N64 and started. When I clicked my file, I had already finished the Forest Temple. So then I decided I would go to the Death Mountain crater to start the Fire Temple. On my way there, since you have to go through Kakariko village, I decided to cash in on some gold Skulltula crests. On my way into the village I noticed something strange. The two twins in the blue and red shirt weren't dancing by the tree. They were nowhere to be found. The guy on top of the house looking at Death Mountain was laying dead with a puddle of blood around him. What the fuck? I murmured. I decided to do what I need to do and head out of this town. On my way to the Skulltula house, I thought to myself, this is supposed to be a happy town. Now it's a clusterfuck. On my way into the Skulltula house, the cursed man didn't drop down. I went to the spot where he was supposed to come down and nothing happened. About 5 seconds after it shot down on Link. It was eating his flesh. I could hear the disturbing sound of tearing flesh. At this point I was scared shitless, but as I went to turn off my N64, I noticed something weird. Young Link tore out of adult Link's flesh, covered in blood. Young Link walked out of the house. I stared, heading for the well to wash off the blood. I figured I could just go back and draw the Master Sword and turn into an adult again. But on my way there, Link collapsed dead on the ground and his body disappeared. Okay, I took the game out of the slot and brought it with me to my shed. Once I got there, I destroyed it. But what was weird was that it was just a shell, no metal cartridge inside. I went back up to my room and found the metal cartridge stuck in my N64. I pulled and pulled until the point where the system turned on. It was Ganon laughing his evil laugh and hitting his sword against the TV screen. This was just damn scary. Ganon never scared me ever. It wasn't Ganondorf, it was Ganon. I pulled the metal cartridge out and I ran for the woods next to my house. I threw it as far as I could into the woods. That night I woke up to hear Ganon's evil laugh. I looked out my window and saw Phantom Ganon. And that's when I left. I got in my car and floored it away. Now, my life is pretty normal again. So thank God. So, what was the point of that story if it didn't affect the author in any way whatsoever? Maybe it's a metaphor for how struggle is futile, because everything is the same, or something cliche like that. I don't know. Number 3. Vati. I wanted to play my Legend of Zelda 4 Swords game. Nothing serious. I just wanted to defeat Vati and save Princess Zelda. First floor, piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Same with the other two. Went on with the boss battle of Vati. It was easy clearing the first part. Second part. Here goes, I thought. Now is time to do it. After trying hard! It seems I have defeated Vati, but something was happening. I've never seen such a thing. Suddenly, a gurgle came from the DS, from Vati. His body appeared, a mess. There was a liquid pouring from his body, maybe blood, but it sure did not look like it. The so-called blood was a black gooey substance pouring everywhere. Then the DS screen flashed white for about a second. Then there lay the body of Princess Zelda, with blood and gore everywhere. Red flashed everywhere. Vati, you bastard, I thought. I tried moving, but Link wouldn't move, as if frozen. Frozen with fear. Finally, after a minute or so, Link tore off. I tried attacking him. Once as my sword laid on the crippled body, Link let out a blood-curdling scream and ran. He seemed to be on fire, leaving a trail of blood behind him. Then a laugh came from the dying Vati, and suddenly he exploded. Black blood everywhere. Then a rusty blood-stained Triforce appeared. It said in clear words, "Game over." Shocked, I looked at the touchscreen. There lay the body of Link. To my horror, he was torn apart, blood splattered everywhere. "No!" I forced myself to say, and without hesitation I turned off the DS. I went to bed, for it was nighttime. I had a dream while sleeping. Vati was creating a giant tornado, destroying everything in his path. He soon came to me. Soon, I felt excruciating pain, like being torn apart, and I was being ripped up. Soon, after the few minutes of torture, everything went black. It kind of felt like a DS being turned off. Oh yes, a DS being turned off. The worst pain imaginable. Can you imagine it? No. No, you cannot. Because it's unthinkable. Real suffering is not known. Number 2. Zelda beat up Link. Why would you want to beat up poor Link? He's like the sweetest boy ever. I was finally able to get my hands on an N64. I remember all the great times I had with it back in the days, and I finally found one with 2 controllers, 6 games, console for $10. The strange thing was that the kid who sold it to me had about 5 other people trying to buy it at his garage sale, but he only sold it to me. The game I was most excited for was Ocarina of Time. I had never beat it as a child, but I would now. I loaded up my system, booted it up, and inserted the OOT cartridge. Sorry, I keep mixing those 2 words up. Hehe. It was a gold one, so I was eager to do all the glitches. But at the title screen, Epona went faster than all the walkthroughs I saw. Figuring it was my imagination, I made a new file labeled Link. I went through the game beating the Deku Tree. Girl, I beat my Deku Tree every day. But when I tried to leave, the same kid who was there before wasn't gone. I tried to tulk to him, but he said, "I hate you, Link," instead of warning me not to leave. I got freaked out because that doesn't happen in the game. But what was more freaky, that he kicked Link in the balls, knocking him down. He actually kicked his penis. He started kicking Link, beating him up until he bled. I cannot describe the terror I felt. This was happening on my N64. Link was transported to Death Mountain, and for some reason, Saria was there, and she threw Link down onto a rolling rock. This is the Angry Video Game Nerd. I was about to turn off my system, but it wouldn't. All the bosses were where Link was on the ground. He got up, looked around. The bosses lunged at him, actually tearing him to shreds. Not literally. What? What does that mean? But when the death music played, everything was normal. Saria came and she had a match lit. She dropped it onto Link's unconscious body and it burned. "Piece of shit," she said. She looked at the screen. Said, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" and my system literally exploded. Was that the power of Ben or something? Making everything explode? No mortal man should have that power. Number 1. Legend of Zelda, Gateway to Hell. And now it's time to meet Satan. And a wall of text. Same thing really. I am a huge fan of the old Zelda games. Much like everyone else. No, it doesn't actually say that, but it might as well. One day I had an itch to play the original Zelda. I sold my copy to a friend a few years back, so I didn't have one. I went on Craigslist and found a copy for free, and I was like, alright! I drove to the house and an old Chinese man gave me the game through the mail slot on his door. I took it home, for some reason that was really suspicious, and immediately put it in my NES. I turned it on, and when the game started up, it did not show the title screen or anything. It started in the middle of the game, only it looked kinda different. Nothing was where I remembered it, and all the water was dark red, like... Say it with me. There were no enemies, but there were dead people all over the ground. I continued on, thinking this was just a glitch. Of course! I walked like 2 inches, and the next screen was the final boss, and I was like, what? How did I get here? Only I wasn't fighting Ganon, I was fighting Satan! I couldn't attack him, my sword did nothing. Then, when he killed me, the game over screen came up, only it was red, like blood. And instead of the game over, it said, come join me in hell. I immediately freaked out and took the game out. I decided to play something else to calm my nerves. I put in Mario 3 because that game's fucking awesome. But when I turned it on, the red game over screen came on with a bunch of pentagrams and triple 666s. This is the most cliched shit I've ever read. I immediately turned it off and put in another game. This time, Super C. I turned it on, but the red game over screen came on again. This time with the message, what? You don't want to play with me? I tried to take the game out, but it wouldn't work. The Super C tape slowly turned into a red Zelda tape. Red like blood! The controller wires wrapped around my neck and tried to strangle me. Blood squirted out of the TV and made a pentagram on me. The words on the screen changed into, join my death cult, mortal. I screamed. I quickly grabbed the Nintendo zapper next to my NES and shot the NES and cartridge. To my surprise, it worked. I was saved. I was so relieved that I gave that cursed game to my friend as a funny prank.
What's your problem, dude? It's just a prank, man!
I am the ultimate prankster.
That concludes my story. Goodbye. Goodbye indeed, you silly, silly prankster. See you in jail after you go squeeze some woman's ass in the street or something. I don't know, man. Psst. Hey kids, if you stay till after the credits, you'll see something interesting. So, how does it feel? How does it feel to know that you've spent time listening to some spectacular Zelda fables that were so bad, they caused a revolution? That's right, people are out in the streets, rioting, going completely mad because of these tales of stupidity, and it's all because of Zelda. What have we started? Actually, that's a lie, calm down. But that's Nintendo for ya! Anyways, that's the end. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and a special thanks to my awesome Patreon supporters who helped this show get on the road. I am eternally grateful. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay awesome. Goodbye.
You smart.
by another one,
Another one.
by another one,
Another one.
by another one,
Another one.
by another one.
And another one.